Hello, everybody. Welcome to this edition of our live streaming class series. My name is Nick Ellis, PC Computer Guy here in Indianapolis. My number is 317-883-7224. Once again, that's 317-883-7224 on our website, www.pccomputerguy.com. On that website, on the front page, I'm not sure what stream you might be watching it on. We're doing this on GoToMeeting and Facebook live stream as well as YouTube. Sorry, I was running around here last second, a little bit out of breath. But you can find the links to all of those things and previous classes on there as well. That's www.pccomputerguy.com. So today's topic, we're going to be talking about online file sharing, cloud storage, OneDrive. We'll do Dropbox as well. And I'm going to create the account and everything with you guys so we kind of see the whole process of setting it up beginning to end and some of the things that it can do. These cloud storage things are really nice. They allow you to share full resolution pictures of things. And what I mean by that is if you go on a cruise or something and you have 100 pictures that you want to send to a family member or something, you can't really email all of those. Email has an attachment limit of 25 megabytes or something like that. So you have to send a whole bunch of different ones. And depending on the kind of camera you have, a single picture could easily be 25 megabytes. So it's basically impossible to send the full quality pictures. And so if you know how, you can shrink them down substantially and then you can zip them. Remember we did zipping yesterday. So you can shrink them down and zip them and then attach them. But it's a lot easier just to use cloud storage. And then also if 2 or 3 of you, 2-3 different family members all have their own pictures, you can create a cloud storage space where you guys can all pool your pictures together. So you can upload your stuff and then Sharon can upload her stuff to that same folder, and then you guys can download and see each other's things. Online collaboration as well. If you are working on a Word document and somebody else needs to assist you with that Word document, they can help you out with that as well. So there's a lot of really neat things that you can do with it. It kind of serves as backup as well. Some of the systems will keep versions of the previous files. So when I say it's kind of a backup, it's not fully a backup. Backup is supposed to keep archives for a long period of time. And some of the cloud storage services, when you update the file, the new file is the only file that's there. So if something were to come through and corrupt all the files, it's potential that you lose the files on your cloud storage. Some of them will allow you to restore previous versions, but I don't want people to think that it's full backup. It's not full backup, it's pseudo backup. And so it does back up your stuff in that you're storing things in the cloud, not on your computer explicitly. So if your computer were to crash, you'd be able to retrieve that information. So you can kind of use it as backup, but just keep in mind that if corruption happens to the file, you could still potentially lose it because the file that gets corrupted on your computer gets synced with the cloud one as well, and then you lose both of those. And like I said, some of them allow you to restore previous versions, some of them don't. We're going to focus primarily on OneDrive because that's my favorite, and it's one of the least expensive ones. There's a free one. All of them have a free, and then they have a paid one where you can get more storage space if you need to. We'll probably do Dropbox as well if we have time for that. And so yeah, let's get into it. Let's over here. So we're going to start off by launching our web browser here, and let's go ahead and use Brave. Brave's my favorite guy. I have Brave open in some other windows here. One of the tricks that I haven't talked about yet, there's a lot of Windows tricks and tips and things, is if you have multiple tabs like this is just a side note. So say we go to OneDrive here, and over here we go to Dropbox. So we have both sites up in different tabs, and as soon as they load here, these two different tabs, they're actually different websites, and you can tear them. What I mean by tearing is you can take it, and you can take this one and pull it away, and you see if I just click and hold, I'm still holding, and I pull it away, I can drag it to a different window so that I have two different ones here. So you can separate your windows. Most of the browsers do that. That's called tearing. You can take them and put them back together as well by dragging and dropping them back like that. So I'm going to go to OneDrive over here. Like I said, I'm going to create just an account here. and we'll go through the whole thing together. This will give you some time. I'll slow down just a little bit so that you have time to go through those things as well, but not too slow. Another neat thing is I have OneDrive on my phone, and so that's a very convenient way. Most of them will offer, hey, do you want to store all of your photos on this cloud storage space, OneDrive in this example? And you can say yes, and then your phone will automatically upload the pictures that you take to OneDrive. Obviously, if you run out of space, then it's going to stop doing that. It's going to say you either need to buy some space or clear it off. But that's a nice way to keep your files, your pictures synchronized and backed up, because people don't often think about backing up their phone. Actually, as we speak, I'm doing data recovery for somebody whose phone got wiped and they lost everything on it. So backing up your phone is perhaps just as important, if not more important, than backing up your computer. But anyways, so you can take your pictures, put them on here, and it's also a very nice, convenient way to move files back and forth. If I'm listening to something, a file that I've downloaded, a video file or a music file or something, and I want to take that with me, instead of connecting my phone and transferring it, I'll just take it and throw it on my OneDrive on the computer, and then it'll be on the OneDrive on my phone, and I can just download it from there and listen to it or do whatever I want with it. So it's another way that you can move things back and forth. Another convenient thing about it is if you have multiple computers, I'm actually doing this right now for somebody else. They have 3 computers, and he wants the same files on all 3 computers. So if he uses his Dropbox, he's using Dropbox in this example, whatever he has on computer 1 will be on computer 2 and computer 3. So if you use the same username and password on multiple computers, signing into the same service, you will end up with the same files. So you can use that to synchronize things. All kind of really nice things, right? So we're going to we'll check out the pricing and plans here. Maybe first we'll just create the account and get that done, and then we'll go back to the pricing and plans. So I'm going to hit the sign up for free. If you notice, I went to onedrive.com. It forwarded me to here. And then we're going to hit the sign up for free. I want to leave this window open. So I'm going to right click on this, and I'm going to say open a new tab so that I can leave this guy open here. In fact, we'll click on that here. We'll go through the sign up process here. I'm going to create a unique email address. Now, if you have an email account already, you could use your phone number, or you can use your existing email address, or if you wanted to get a new email address, you can do that. A lot of people have Yahoo or Google, Gmail. I really think Microsoft's system is the best for the email. You get Exchange syncing abilities. So that means if you have Outlook on your computer and Outlook on your phone, everything will synchronize: your contact, your calendar, everything. And with the other services, you can only synchronize your mail. Some of them you can synchronize your calendar and your contacts, but that's with a plugin application like the iTunes plugin application that people have learned breaks a lot. Whereas the Microsoft gives you that hosted Exchange, which is like the Cadillac of all mail systems, for free. So I like it the best. So anyways, we'll do the get new email address here, and we'll say PC class. See if that's available. Somebody already has that. Okay, PC class 2020. All right. So we're going to create a password here, and actually, let's do this how I showed you the other day. I have this guy right here, this Bitwarden application. And if you've been following through the series, we kind of went through setting that up and doing some of that stuff. So I'm going to use the generator here, and it's going to generate this password. I'm going to change this. I'm going to actually close this account once we're done. So if you want to try to get in, go ahead, but you're not going to get anywhere. So copy password here. And I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to paste it. And you can paste either by right-clicking in this window. If you right-click over here, you're not going to get that. You need to right-click where the text is supposed to go. Or you can press Control and V, as in Victor, on your keyboard. You put that in there. And nope, I don't want junk notifications. So thank you very much for that. Put this information in here. Birth date. And then we got to type these in. Some people have a really hard time. KXHDKYN3. Did I miss something? KYNY3W. Next. Looks like it's going to be happy. All right. And you know, I'm curious while we're here. I'm going to do a quick speed test. Things feel a little bit laggy. Some of this might be due to the amount of people that are at home at this time doing telecommuting and everything, or it could be a DNS server issue. We talked about DNS on one of our things before. So we're just going to do a quick speed test here. And to do that, I went to speedtest.net. And this is how you can find out what your speed is. Or I should say what you're getting. All right, go. Two millisecond ping. Yep, everything's looking fine. 2 millisecond ping, that's how quickly it moves through the pipe. Whereas this right here is testing bandwidth. That's how big the pipe is, how much at one time can move through the pipe. While we're here, a little side note. People think that if you have more bandwidth, all of the ISPs will essentially lie to you and tell you if you pay for one of the higher services, it's better for games. It's not true. The ping does not change regardless of the speed that you have, assuming that you have enough. And if you have 20 megabit or higher, then you're fine. I have these crazy speeds because I have MetroNet fiber to the home, and it was a crazy good deal, so why not get it? But this is far excessive to what anyone would need. 50 megabit is kind of the sweet spot. If you can get 50 megabit, almost everybody's going to be fine with that. So there is a link between ping and bandwidth, but it's a really weak link. So essentially they're lying to you by saying, get this faster speed and it's better for games, because most games, they actually only require like 1 megabit per second, if that. They don't have to send a lot of data back and forth. You care about the latency, the ping. So anyways, I just wanted to check to make sure that was fine. All of that's good. We're going to tear this down and just close this guy here. And so we got welcome to our OneDrive here. And we'll just go through this. OneDrive, hearts, photos, okay. Work together. That's the collaboration stuff that I told you about. Let's get started. Here's the Office 365 Personal. This includes, while we're here, we might as well talk about it. People get confused between 365 and non-365. All it is a marketing thing. If you have one of the versions of Office that's 365, that means you're paying a subscription. You pay yearly. So this is for, I think, the one user, and then for $10 a month or something, you get, I could be wrong on that, you get 5 computers or 6 computers. I think it's 6 computers. And you get a terabyte, 1,000 gig of OneDrive space. The free, I believe, includes 5 gig of free space, which is definitely plenty for you to play around with and start using it. And like I said, it's relatively inexpensive. So Office 365 is the subscription based. You could have Office as well, Word, Excel, PowerPoint. That is not the 365. What it is you paid for it one time and you're done. Microsoft has really been pretty aggressive about trying to push people into the subscription based model. Obviously, they make a little bit more money off of it that way, and they've kind of been successful, unfortunately. I like to just buy something once and be done with it, but the pricing of their one-time purchases have gotten so high, and they offer so much with the subscription based that much of the time it's actually better to do the subscription based one. But anyways, let's close this down here. And so down here you can see I have 5 gigabytes of space available. That's this right here, and we've got some folders that were just created for us. Excuse me. And so this is OneDrive on the cloud, right? And go ahead and so we can, we'll get to this in a second. This is first part of the setup. Let's get back over here to the pricing really quick. So OneDrive Basic free, you can get OneDrive just itself without Office and all of that stuff. So you can get 100 gig of it for $2 a month. So you see how it's pretty inexpensive. And if you're going to use it as a pseudo backup, it's a good way to go. And then here's what I was talking about. This is the subscription-based version for one computer, and this is the subscription-based version. You pay that yearly for five or 6 computers. There you go, 6 different accounts. You can do 6 accounts. So just so you see the pricing there. And And there are a couple feature differences, but nothing really substantial. So let's go back over here. So this is the OneDrive web interface. Just like email, you can be using Outlook for your email. Therefore, you're never going to the website. Or you can use the website version. Like if you have Gmail, you go to gmail.com to check your mail. If you're using the web browser to do that, that's called web mail. Versus if you're using Outlook or Thunderbird or one of these other mail clients, you don't actually ever have to go to gmail.com to access your mail. You just open that program. Well, kind of the same thing going on here. We have OneDrive through the web, and then we're going to download the OneDrive app as well. Actually, if you're on Windows 10, which almost everybody is at this point, and even Windows 8 and 7 have it integrated a lot of the time, it's already installed on your computer. If you don't have it already installed, right here, get the OneDrive app in the very bottom corner down here. I don't know if you can see it. I'll just try to drag this up a little bit. You got the Get the OneDrive app right here. Don't need to create a shortcut for it. And if you go to there, you can actually download the application if you're still on Windows 7 or if you're on a Mac or something else like that. We don't need to download it, like I said, so we're going to just click Start down here. And there's your download stuff. We'll click Start down here. And remember I told you, you just type what you want. Really nice feature of, actually from Windows 7 on. So I'm going to click Start down here, and I'm not going to click in any box. I'm not clicking on any box. I just start typing right here. Helps if I type, the microphone's in the way. And we got OneDrive here. So I'm going to click on OneDrive. Excuse me. And we have the OneDrive app. So the OneDrive app is already on here. And we're good to go. So we can enter the email address that we created. Ours was pccgclass2020@outlook.com. And we'll hit sign in here. Don't recognize that address. I must have messed something up already. Let's go back over to here. Oh, PC class 2020. All right, and so we're signing into the app. So again, you should have been able to get to that by clicking Start and just typing 1, and you have OneDrive pop up. If not, I showed you where you can download it through the site. Now we're going to put in our password in here. I have it copied already. Sign in. And I want to go through this with you as well, because Microsoft defaults it to some settings that I don't particularly like. So with any of these cloud storage things, OneDrive, Dropbox, Google Drive, all of them, you have a special folder. And so using this in the end, once we're all said and done, 90% of what you do is going to be just accessing it as a folder. It's very simple to use. I'll show you that here in just a second. So it's not crazy. You don't even have to use the app from this point forward to get your stuff on the cloud. So your OneDrive folder is here. It tells you your username and then OneDrive. Remember in the very first class, we talked about these paths and understanding how these paths work. So we're going to hit next. And then it's going to ask us if it wants back up our folders, desktop, document, pictures. I do not like to do this. This creates confusing, crazy situations where your desktop is actually moved within the OneDrive folder. Same thing with your documents and your pictures. They get moved within the OneDrive folder, so they're not in the normal locations, first off. Second, I want to be the one that decides what I choose to put on the cloud. And so if you choose this, anything that you throw on your desktop here, these files are automatically going to be synced to the cloud. I don't want that. I just want one folder, and I know whatever I put in that one folder is going to be on the cloud. Everything else is not touching the cloud, right? So I'm going to uncheck all of these. I don't want to use these. Leave those alone. Skip here. And so that's a pretty important step. And once again, we can buy it. We'll say not now. Get to know OneDrive. Sure, why not? Share files and folders. I'm going to show you that anyways. All your files are ready on demand. So this right here, there's 3 ways you can do things. You can keep your files on the cloud only. And that's what people think that these services do. They think that OneDrive, Dropbox, Google Drive, keep them in the cloud. That's not exactly true. Most of them, much of the time, synchronizes them to your computer. So you have a copy on your computer and in that special folder, and then whatever's in this special folder gets uploaded to, in this case, Microsoft's OneDrive, right? So they match each other. There's a duplicate. There's one here and one here. So if you make a change here, that automatically gets updated here. If you make a change over here, it gets updated over here. So there's communication that goes back and forth between the 2 of them, but they actually reside on your computer much of the time. So this is telling you right here, you can have it so that it's only available online, and that's useful because it doesn't take up space on your drive. If you have enough space, you want it available on your computer. If you're hopping on an airplane flight and you don't have internet, excuse me, you don't have internet, and you do it this way, you won't be able to get to the files. But if you synchronize them, then they will be available. So even when you're on a flight, you can get into that Word document that you store on OneDrive. You can make changes to it, and then you get off your flight, you get to your hotel. When you connect to the hotel internet, what changes you've made will get updated to the online one. So it allows you to work with your files even when you're not online, if you have them downloaded and available on the device. So this right here shows you that it's only available online. This one right here, available on this device. This one, you can always keep this offline. So we'll go ahead and click next here. Get the mobile app. I have the mobile app on my phone, which is not sitting next to me right now. But if you're in the if you're on Apple, you just go to the App Store. If you're on Android, you go to the Play Store. You search for OneDrive, download it, sign in with your username and password, and the thing, like I said, the pictures and stuff that you have on your computer, you can synchronize with OneDrive as well, which means that when you take a picture, you can come to your computer and then email it that way or look at it on your computer without you having to do anything. By default, it's set so that it only does it if you're connected to Wi-Fi, so which is probably what you want. You don't want to upload a whole bunch of pictures when you're not on Wi-Fi, because then you'll just burn through your data plan. And even if you have an unlimited one, some of them will throw out of your data, so just don't do that. Just connect to your Wi-Fi. We can say later for that, and we're all done. Yay! Open our folder here. All right, so remember I told you OneDrive is just a special folder. That's it. There's nothing else to it. So in your folder here, you're used to seeing, we'll close this down and we'll kind of start from here. Down at the bottom, you got your files. And so we're going to click on our files down here. And then you have your normal things that you're used to seeing, desktop download pictures. And you have this new one here, OneDrive. Incidentally, if you're using Dropbox, you'll have one that says Dropbox here, Google Drive here, box.com here. So we have our OneDrive here. If I click on this, it is just a folder just like everything else. So the things that you see here, notice we got 4 items here. Let's go back to the website. I'm going to take this, I'm going to snap it to the right side. So you can take it and drag it all the way to the right side, and you see how it snaps like that? If I touch the corner here, it draws that box, and if I release it, it's snapped to one side, and then I can take my website and I click on it and I snap it to the other side. So that's kind of a nice feature. So we have got these 4 items here, and we've got the same 4 items over here. If I over here right click, so remember this is just a folder. I have this up so that you can see how it synchronizes, but when you're normally using it, you're not going to have it up. So we'll snap this back to the left. We'll put this on the right. So if I right click here and just say new text document, hello. I create a text document here called hello. See this little syncing icon? Now notice what happened over here. Automatically, poof, just like magic, the hello document appeared over here. Now, I haven't ever opened this or typed anything in it, right? Let's go over here. Let's click on it. And so we have a blank line here. This, click in here. This is awesome. something weird. There we go. Open text editor. There we go. There we go. So you had to open it, and it was just in a view only mode. This is awesome. Now, here's one thing that I can't particularly say I love. I understand. There's no save button. Well, actually, you know what? I take it back. They did put a save button. There wasn't a save button forever because it automatically saved. So they must have just put this here recently just so that you know that it's saved, even though they're automatically saving it. So I'm going to snap this back over to the left over here. And so over here, this document, remember we just created it. We didn't type anything in here. If I open this up, look at that. We've got the exact same text here. This is awesome. So I'm going to close this down here, and we'll go back to the primary OneDrive folder here by clicking OneDrive. So we're back at these things. This personal vault, what this is, we might as well cover it. I've never used it personally, an extra layer. So basically you need to sign in much more frequently. We'll just go through it. Get started, two-step verification. Remember, we've talked about that before. So you can't just get into the files with just your password. This, incidentally, I would protect my OneDrive account is protected with two-factor authentication, and I'll show you guys how to do that. Let me make a note over here. Because you're putting files on the cloud, right? Now, you're protected already with your password, but I want to be extra secure. And so I set up that two-factor authentication. So remember, like we talked about actually over the last couple days, if somebody gets your password, they still can't get in because they need to have your phone as well to do the second layer of authentication. And so it auto locks, you see right here, auto locks and requires two-step verification. So that's what the vault is. We're not going to really jump into that. I don't want to confuse and complicate things too much, but you can have two-step verification for your entire account, which we will set up. So I want to show you something else. I'm going to create a Word document. So I'm just going to go down here and type Word. And this is the class on OneDrive. All right. So we have that here. I'm going to highlight it. We'll make it bigger, change the font color, make it bold. Okay, so we've done a few things with this here. When I go to save this, now if you have a newer version of Office, you'll probably have a thing over here that says OneDrive already. I have the 2010 version, and I don't bother updating because they're pretty much all the same. So if you have pre-2010, then you can't. 2010 is the oldest that you can have. So I'm going to hit Save As here. And then you notice you get your folders over here. Normally, it would go into Documents on this PC, just the regular Documents folder. But if we go into OneDrive, OneDrive has its own Documents folder. So there's a Documents folder in OneDrive, and there's a Documents folder on just your computer right here. And they're separate document folders. So don't get those mixed up. So we're going to go to the OneDrive over here and go into Documents, and we'll just save it as this. We'll hit Save here. All right, so now I've saved this from Word directly into OneDrive. I'm going to close this here, and we're going to go into Documents over here. Again, you don't need to have this up all the time. This is just to illustrate how all the stuff works. And look at that. This is the class on OneDrive. It's already here. And remember I told you I like Microsoft System the best because I think it has the best editors, and you can drag and drop things with this. So if you have an email, you can drag and drop things into folders. You can't do that with most of the other services. You have to click the little check boxes. Right-clicking provides you actual options, and in most systems, right-clicking on a website doesn't do anything. So that's why I like the and also, so we're going to go into this here. And we got this is the class in OneDrive, and look, it's pretty much identical to what I just created on the computer. Has the same font, text, everything. And look at this. This is pretty much Word, but it's Word within your web browser. We're using Brave, remember? Our lion guy down here. Welcome to Word on the web. Documents, save them automatically. Share your documents over here. And you can add comments to things. All right, got it. So you've got a lot of the same basic features through your web browser. So if you're at your friend's house and your friend doesn't have Word on their computer. If you log into your OneDrive and you have a document on there, you can be working in the web version of Word. So you can make these changes. I'm going to highlight it here. We'll say right justify it, or let's do center justification. Center justify, and let's change the font color here to this guy. So this is really neat. I mean, it's very complicated to produce a website that actually has the features of an application. So you got your insert, your layout, all of that stuff. Pretty neat, right? Word in your web browser. So anyways, we changed a couple things here. We'll move this down and we'll say howdy right here. And you see up here it says saving. This is what I was talking about, where it automatically saves the changes that you're doing to your document, whether you hit save or not. So I can hit file and I can do save as, but I don't need to do save because it's already saved. So this is what I was mentioning earlier. So we made a couple changes here. It's already saved. So I can close this. It's in a different tab up here. Move this over. So we've got this tab right here. You see our OneDrive is still open, and these are all different tabs that are still open. So I could click over here and jump back to my OneDrive folder if I wanted to here, but I don't want to have multiples open. I just want to have, the one that I care about open. So this, since it opened in a new window, I can just close this window down. And we're back to our OneDrive here. I'm going to close down this one as well while I'm at it. Keep things kind of tidy. I don't need that either. And we'll put this back over on the left-hand side here. Now, if I go back into my documents here, remember that file? We made some changes over here on the cloud version. If I come over here to the local version, there's our changes already there. So I hope this shows you how you can synchronize things back and forth between the web browser version and your local version on your computer. And the reason why that's important is the web browser version you can access anywhere, whether they have Office or not. Whereas you can have your files on your computer and you can use your native programs. If I go into this one here, I can also say open in desktop app, assuming you have Word on your computer. If I click this open in desktop app here, open Office, and yes, okay. And you see it just kicks it right into my Word, and I can edit it that way as well. It's not particularly how you would normally want to do it, but it's a nice feature to have there. Try launching Word again. Oh, it wants me to do something here with credentials, probably because I have an older version. I'm just going to close that because, like I said, we don't really want to normally do that. But it's nice to know that it's there. Okay, you can go away now. So let's minimize this guy down. And so we have, typically when you're working with OneDrive on your computer, you're just going to be using the folder. You're not going to be using the web version. So we have this set up here. I'm going to take some files here that I prepped ahead of time. Let's see, OneDrive here. So I have these pictures that I've taken, and these pictures just exist on this computer. They're in a folder, but you can go to your documents if you have things in your documents or wherever. I have these stored in a special spot for the class. So if I want to take these and I want to move them to OneDrive, if I take and drag and drop them over here, notice before I let go, I don't want to put them in documents either. Right now I'm in OneDrive documents. You see that up here? I'm going to go back right here and I'm going to go into pictures because these are pictures. You don't have to do that, by the way. You can put them in documents. You can put them wherever you want, or you can make your own folders. If I click on home here and new folder, test folder, you can make your own folder. I right click and I say new folder. That's how I do it. Test 2. So anyways, we have these files here and it's just in a folder labeled OneDrive. It's not actually OneDrive. So I have these pictures here and I want to move them to OneDrive. I take and I drag, and before I release, I make note that it says move to pictures. The reason I want you to pay attention to that is because sometimes things copy and sometimes they move. And really it's kind of confusing as to when it does a move or a copy. So this way, if you just pay attention before you let go, you'll know what it's actually doing. So if I drag and drop them over here, I'm going to move them rather than copy them, which means they're going to come out of the original folder and they're only going to be in the OneDrive folder, which is what I want. So I release them here. Close this. Now you notice they're not here anymore. You see I'm dragging and dropping. These are folders in Windows. You would do the exact same thing if you wanted to move it to your Documents folder, right? Or if you wanted to move something to your Pictures folder. The OneDrive folder is just a special folder that synchronizes things. Other than that, there's no difference between it and any other folder, which means that it's easy enough for you to use. You don't have to be a computer genius. It's extremely easy. People just are afraid to try things a little bit and see what happens. So I've taken those, and you notice I got the green check mark here. Green check mark tells me that everything has been uploaded. Now, if you have a whole bunch of stuff, 5 gig worth of things, and you have a normal internet connection, it's probably going to take it 5 or 10 minutes before this syncs. So it's just dependent on how big your files are and how much information you're syncing. But mine's already done here. So I've got the green check mark that's telling me that it's done. Remember that thing from earlier where we saw the different icons? So this one right here is only available on the cloud. It's not actually downloaded into my computer. So it's not taking up any space in my computer. So we got our pictures here. Let's go back to the cloud one just to see that. So I'm going to click back here on OneDrive. And then I'm going to go into my pictures folder. And notice we've got our pictures here. I'm going to go into the finals here. Make this full screen. And all of our pictures are here. And you notice it's loading thumbnails of things. I think it's taking their server a minute to do it. But eventually we'll end up with thumbnails of each one of the things. So if I click on any one of them, the option to do that. Let's see, go over here. Yeah, once it does that, then you'll end up with a viewer where you can view the different pictures. You can do a played slideshow. You can download the picture if you want. You can view the original. You can do a whole bunch of different things. I'm going to hit back over here, and we're going to do back again. And our Indie HDR as well. We got all of our things. Our pictures are all synchronized here as well. So you see how everything uploaded to the cloud? It's pretty neat how it does all of that. Let me just do this here real quick. If you wanted to download all of these things, we're jumping a little bit forward ahead here, but if you hit download here, you see how it does a zip folder? Remember we talked about that the other day? It'll download all of these pictures in a single file called HDR Indie to wherever you choose to put it. So instead of having to download 15 pictures one at a time, this will download the entire thing at once. Now we'll just go ahead and hit save and do that. So there it goes. The entire folder is done downloading, and I put it on the desktop here. So here's that entire folder that's downloaded. Obviously, you wouldn't do that on your own computer. You'd be doing that on a remote computer where you want to access OneDrive files. So let's get back over to here. There we go. It's finally generated the thumbnails. So with the thumbnails generated, we can click on it, and we have a nice slideshow viewer. You can just hit the right arrow to go through the different pictures. And you can do some basic editing. Probably wouldn't normally be editing things on here. But when you share your files this way, the people that are receiving the files, they're getting the full version, not a compressed version. When you hit the share button on your phone, and you send it as a text message, it's actually compressing it substantially, so it's a much smaller version. This, they will get the full original quality version. Let me see here. Info over here. So you see the resolution is still very high resolution, and the file size 2.15 megabytes. Whereas if you share a picture and a text, you're probably going to lose 85% of that. All right, so I think this is time for us to take a break here. And we need to take a normal 5-minute break. If you guys have any questions, you can say something in the chat boxes. YouTube has the chat, Facebook has the chat, and the GoToMeeting all have chat links. So you can check out any of, send a message to us in any of those. I mean, if you're here, just say hi. It's nothing wrong with saying hi, and kind of nice to let us know that you're watching and participating. And we'll be back here in just a few minutes, but I hope you're enjoying what you have so far. And if you have any questions, just go ahead and put those in the chat window. All right. See you here in 5. And we are back. So, hope so far this information has been useful to you. Like I said, the reason why we decided to create these classes is to give people a chance to learn something during this coronavirus, the COVID-19 stay-at-home order, where a lot of people are at home and kind of have cabin fever. Why not take that time and learn something? So hopefully these classes are being useful to all of you out there that are watching, and you're getting some good stuff out of it. So right now we're talking about OneDrive in this class. So let's get back to that and get back the screen over here. So we left off just with the picture viewer, and we got all of our pictures up here. I'm going to hit the X here to close out of these. You see it's finally generated the thumbnail. And yes, these are all pictures that I've taken. I like to pretend that I'm a photographer and try out different filters and things like that. But we're going to close these down here, and we're going to go back to our folders here. Now that we're in this, we're inside of a folder. Here's our path. So you can click here if you wanted to jump back just to the pictures and go to our finalist pictures here. Now it's finally generated the thumbnails for that. And we'll go back to my files here, and we've got everything here where we have that document that we created, all of this stuff. This is, again, the web version, and if we move this or just minimize it over here, everything synchronizes to this. So most of what you will be doing on a regular basis will be storing things and working with this folder, not the web-based version. I just wanted to introduce you to it so you know how you can get to your files if you should be on a computer that you don't have OneDrive installed on, so that you can get to all of your files and information. You see how it can make it very convenient if you keep an Excel document with bills that you need to pay and stuff like that. It's a good way for you to keep track of things while you're on a cruise or something like that. And it's okay. You decide how much personal information you want to keep on there and how well you want to protect it. What I don't want to happen is for you to put your password file of all of your passwords on this thing right here, and then have a bad guy hack into your account and them to have access to all of your passwords at that point. So be careful with things like that. What I will do if I'm sending tax documents that have very critical information into them, we'll pretend like this stuff is here. I'll highlight these three things, then I'll right click on it, and I'll say 7-zip. Remember we talked about installing 7-zip yesterday? And instead of saying add to desktop like we normally did, I'll say add to archive here. And what it'll do is it'll open 7-zip and allow me to modify options here. The format, some people don't have 7-zip, so I just change it to regular zip. And then down here, enter a password. Open 1, 2, 3. If you create a password in here, you're encrypting the document. So then I'll say OK on this. And now I have this zip file that's password protected. So if I double click on it to open it up, and if I try to get into any one of these things, you see I need the password in order to get into that. So you can't get into any of that stuff without having the password. I'm going to close this stuff down here, and then I can take this and I can put it on my OneDrive, and it being sensitive information is encrypted. And now the fun part. Now that we got the stuff on OneDrive, how do we share it? With Windows 10, it's built in. The sharing functionality is built in. So I can right click on any of these things and I can say share. You see the OneDrive folder here? So I choose share here. And it's going to create a link for me without me having to go to the internet or do anything. So right now I have the option. Anyone with the link can edit. Remember the first example I told you, if you want to allow people to collaborate, or you can click on this and take away the allow editing, and you can hit apply here. So now they can only view but not edit. You can enter the email address here if you want to send it to the person directly. I like to copy my links and send it through my email myself personally. So I go to copy link down here, and you see it says this link is copied. So we have a special link here that's already copied, and then I can take it and put it in anything I want. If I have a chat program, Skype, whatever you use, Telegram. By the way, join our Telegram channel. You can go to pccomputerguy.com, and then it's not on the homepage, but if you click on any of the links, we have a Telegram channel that we keep open all the time, and people can hop in there and ask questions. And what I'm thinking about doing is over time, maybe a few tech people will sit in there from time to time, and if you have a basic question, we can answer that. So you see over here, Telegram right here. I don't have it installed on this profile, but you download Telegram. It's a great chat program that has a lot of focus and emphasis on security, encrypting of information, so it's a way that you can communicate securely. We also had a thing about it for, if you're a business and you have 15 people in your organization that you guys are all working on a project together, you can create a Telegram room that is protected so that anybody in the world can't jump in, so it can be open to the public or closed, and it's free. It works on everything. So anyways, little side thing, join our Telegram channel and you can find that on our webpage here. But back to this. So we have that link that's copied. And so if I have, for example, want to put it in a Word document or a Notepad document, I can paste it in here. And I did that with Control V or right-clicking and paste. Excuse me. So you can do that in your email. You go to compose an email to, tom@tom.com, and then in the body of the message, you right-click and you say paste. This link will be in there, and when you send it to them, they'll be able to view and or edit based off what you have selected here. I didn't have to go to any website. I didn't have to go to onedrive.com to create this link. That's a feature of Windows 7, is that you can do that directly from here without having to go into anything. So I'm going to simulate what does a person see if they receive this. So remember, we were doing everything through Brave here. I'm going to open up Edge just because I've never signed in to any of our OneDrive stuff with Edge. So this would be as if it was a completely new person, the person receiving your email. And I'm going to paste the link in here. And so the person on the other end, they'll see this desktop zip thing. I can hit save as the person receiving it, and I can save it to my computer. We're going to share a couple other things. Close anyways. Let's close this down. We don't need it anymore. So let's go to our pictures folder. Now, we can share just a single picture. So if we just wanted to share just this one picture, we can right click on it, share. And I'll just, we'll change this to view only, apply, copy link. And again, I'm going to go over here, and it's as if your friend has received it. So when they click on that link, this is what they see. All right. Now, if I go, I can do that exact same thing to an entire folder. So I'll right click on this folder and I'll hit share, and I'll leave it so that anyone can edit. Copy link. We'll go back over here and we'll paste it in here again. So this is what the receiving party would see. They see the collection of pictures here, and they can hit download here to download the entire group of pictures. So remember, I told you can share large amounts of pictures all at once. That's how you can do it. We'll do the same thing with this one just for fun. We'll hit share here, and we'll leave it so that anyone can edit it. And remember, I told you could type in the email addresses here directly if you wanted to, but I want to copy them because I'm usually sending them through chat programs. So we'll go back over here, and then we'll paste. And we've got all of our pictures here. This is the same folder? I must have very similar pictures. I did the wrong folder. Right click, share, copy link so that they can edit. Let's go back up here. Let's paste and go. And there we go. That's the right one here. So you can see all of the items here. So if I hit download, I can download them all in a single download as the single zip file, full resolution. You can, if you have OneDrive, you can hit add to my OneDrive, and then you would sign in with your username and password. So, you send this to Tom. Tom has his own OneDrive. He signs in with his OneDrive. Poof, they're in his OneDrive system, which means they would be available in his OneDrive folder over here as well, without even having to download them. So we did allow to edit, right? Let's click back here. And so if we did allow to edit, I can right click, let's see here, and rotate this picture, and then so with editing, you're going to need to have a Microsoft account. So the person receiving it would have to have a Microsoft account. I'll go ahead and log in just a moment here. You know, it's two-factored. And so remember I told you two-factor protects it. So when I go to sign in here, it's asking me for a code. So I need to get that code, which I would go to my phone. Remember we were talking about Google Authenticator. So I'm going to open up the Authenticator app on my phone here. This is the Authenticator app where it shows you all of the different combinations, and they change every 60 seconds. And so this code right here, and then I can say don't ask again on this device. Remember I told you two-factor is not that inconvenient. And now that I've logged in and I hit that don't bother me again, so my computer is protected. If somebody had that password, they still need to have access to my phone and able to get in. And those codes change every 60 seconds. That's the two-factor we talked about the other day. And so now that I'm here and signed in, I can make changes to it. Let's see here. I can rotate it. Please confirm. Yes. Continue. And so now I've rotated the picture, and you know, if I go to the to my folder here, it would show a rotated image. If I want to, let's take this file, we can drag and drop it, add it to that. Please confirm, continue. Uploading so I just took a random file and I added it to the OneDrive. And so if I come back over here to HDR Indy, notice that file is there. All of what I'm doing through this browser, through Edge, is what the other party can do. So this is what Tom could do. He could modify these pictures. He can add his own pictures to it. So he could take, you know, I don't have more pictures here, but he could take his group of pictures and add it to the file. And then when he does that, you will have it in your own OneDrive folder, which you get to by going to your files, and then here on the left hand side, OneDrive. And so if I go into the pictures and the HDR, we have that file added. So you can put your pictures in there. Tom can add his pictures if you share a thing and say allow to edit. Sharon can add her pictures so that you have a big repository of everybody's crews all at the same time. And again, you're sharing the full quality, the high resolution ones. And it's nice because you don't have to upload all of these pictures multiple times. If you put them on OneDrive one time and then you just get a link, you can send them as a text message. You can send them as an email. You can paste it to your Facebook page, and then people would be able to see all of the pictures in there through the Facebook page. You don't have to keep uploading the same thing over and over and over again. And then, like I said as well, if you sign in with multiple devices, so if I had another computer and I sign in with my same PC class 2020, if I signed in with that, then you could add files to it and they would appear over here, so that you can keep the files synchronized between all of the computers. So Dropbox pretty much works the exact same way. I guess we can go through and do that here, maybe kind of quickly, but it's the exact same concept. And so is a Google Drive. So the buttons will be a little bit different, but the functionality of them will be the same. I am going to do the Dropbox because so many people use that. Dropbox gives you less free space, or maybe they changed it. So we need to create an account. So sign into an account, and they're probably going to make me verify something first, but let's see here. Oh, you know what? We can use our new PC class. When we created the Microsoft account, incidentally, we also have, if I click here, we can go to Outlook, the website, which is different than Outlook, the program. Bad naming, in my opinion. And we'll change this to -5. Since I created a email address, remember initially when we talked about setting it up, you could use your own email address that you already have, or you could create an entirely new address. Since I created a new address, I have a new email here. And remember I told you I like the way that Outlook functions much better than the other systems. So I could take, like this right here, this message, I can take and drag and drop it to a different folder. I could go over here to my folders. I can right click. Let's see here. right click, empty folder, remove from favorites. We got it down here. Right click on this, create new subfolder, test, and then I can take and drag and drop this message into the test folder. There's so many different things that you can do with Microsoft's mail system, and I think it just looks a lot nicer. I click on it here. It's cleaner. It's a modern look compared to some of the other ones, and you got tons of features and things up here as well. So because I created a new email account when I set up my OneDrive, I also have, access to this and the email address PC class 2020 that I'm going to delete once this is all done. So I can use this as my email address. So let's go over to Dropbox here, and we'll create a new account. And it's at outlook.com. And remember, outlook.com is not the same as Outlook, the mail program. Terrible naming. I'll just put this password in here, save, sign up. Remember Bitwarden? Bitwarden's asking me, do I want to save this information? So I can say yes. And so now that username and password is saved in Bitwarden up here. And we're just waiting for this to move on to the next screen. There it goes. So yeah, Dropbox gives you 2 gig for free, whereas OneDrive gives you 5 gig for free. So I'm going to say continue here with just the 2 gig. Download Dropbox because we need an application on our computer in order to easily synchronize those things. It would kind of be pointless to have a cloud storage thing without the program on your computer. I'm going to click on the installer here. This is just about the end, so I'm just kind of showing you this Dropbox one, like I said, because a lot of people use Dropbox instead. I prefer OneDrive, but for those that have to interact with Dropbox, this will show you how it works. So we're installing Dropbox here. And while waiting for that, we can go back to our Dropbox.com. And so here we have the files. Welcome to Dropbox Basic, 2 gig, upload files and folders, install Dropbox, do the mobile app, all of that good jazz. Let's see if we can drag and drop. Drag and drop a file here. Yep, you can drop your files here to upload them to Dropbox. So similar to the Microsoft system, you can drag and drop them for the OneDrive or the Dropbox. Let's go ahead and take a couple of these files here. We'll take our web class one. The reason why our screen flashed like that is because it's installing the extension into the browser, into the Explorer. And so we'll take our free class thing here, and we'll take and drag and drop it over here. Uploading Dropbox. This is the only folder there is. Okay. We can create subfolders. Uploading live class. And then there, it's done. Close. And so if we go to our files over here, here we have the file. And so, if you had multiple files, if you had folders, they would show up here. Create new file. You can create Word documents and things like that, apparently. New folder over here. But you see, I prefer to right click just like I use on my computer. So this one, you have to go over here to create new folder. So that's why I like the Microsoft Web Interface better. New folder. Test. And so now we have our test folder. So this is the Dropbox website, and remember we installed the Dropbox application. So over here we should have, let's go to our files, and we should have one for, I haven't signed into Dropbox yet over here. So got a code emailed to us. So we're going to go to our email, if that's still open. Yes. Over here, inbox, Dropbox. Here's our code. I double click on this to highlight it. It's another trick. Just double click, Control C, come over to Dropbox, Control V. That's Charlie and Victor. Control Charlie, Control Victor. Submit code. And apparently our Dropbox is lonely. All right, all done. Next, we'll minimize this down. Minimize this down. And we're going to get the welcome to Dropbox scenario here. We'll go through that kind of quickly. And that will pretty much wrap up our class once we're done with this. Make files local or make them online only. We talked about that. This one saves space on your system. This one, by downloading them, they'll be accessible whether you're online or not, and they'll be faster because I won't have to download the file whenever you interact with it. So we'll say make files local, continue with basic. And just like, see, we have OneDrive here, we have Dropbox. They can both coexist at the same time because they're just different folders. You have the Dropbox folder and the OneDrive folder. And so we have our free live class thing that we uploaded, and there it is. If we have our test folder, and just like OneDrive, in fact, we can actually go from OneDrive. We can take this directly off of OneDrive, and we can move it to Dropbox just by dragging and dropping between the two of them there. And so now it's on Dropbox. And if I go to our Dropbox web, there we go. And we'll go back to our files here. We have our hello file here. And over here, this is where you could share. Click the share. They need to verify your email address before we can share things, and we don't need to do that, but because you get the idea of how it works. Share, download, send with transfer. So these are some of the additional features that you can do. But anyways, so now hopefully you have a good idea on how to use both Dropbox and Google Drive and OneDrive. We spent most of the time talking about OneDrive because, as you could see, OneDrive just seems to be more polished and nicer and easier to use and gives you more free space and costs less. But no matter what system you use, Google Drive is another one. A lot of people use Google Drive, and that's just fine. Whichever one you use, whatever you're comfortable with, they all pretty much function and do the same thing. They allow you to store your files in the cloud so that you can access them from anywhere. You can synchronize them among multiple computers. So if you have a laptop and a desktop and you use the same account on your laptop and your desktop, then anything in that OneDrive or Google Drive or Dropbox will be synchronized. So they'll be the same. So if you edit a paper for school on your desktop, it'll already be on your laptop. Obviously, the laptop has to be connected to the internet. If it's not, then you'll still have the old version. And you can share large amounts of data or information with friends and family without having to fight the email constraints where you can only send so much data. And lastly, you can collaborate with a large group of people. You know, everybody can throw their same their pictures into the same folder, or working on documents and collaboratively work on the document. So I hope this was helpful to you. My name is Nick Ellis, PC Computer Guy. I'm not sure if we're going to continue to do classes, live online classes or not. We might do it. Depends on the kind of feedback that I get. It takes a lot of time for us to put these together, and a lot of time and a lot of effort to get them done. We might do them. If we do them, we'll do them maybe once a week or twice a week or something like that. But hopefully they've been useful to you. You've got some good information out of them, and maybe it gave you something to do to kind of, like I said, fight that cabin fever. We're trying to do our part when, we're not a medical provider, but what can we do to help during the coronavirus crisis? And this is what I came up with. So, again, my name is Nick Ellis, PC Computer Guy, www.pccomputerguy.com. On there, we also have tech tips. There's a big link for tech tips where we have a whole lot of information. Some of them typed up documents, videos, podcasts that cover a large range of topics, and are there to give you information to keep you safe and informed on things that you can do. So if you have any questions, you can always give us a call, 317-883-7224, or visit us on the website, www.pccomputerguy.com. And if you click on one of the links, you'll have a get help thing where you can fill out a form there, or you could join us in our Telegram channel, which again, you can find on the homepage. So until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and thanks for watching. Bonus content.
Right?
Say bonus content.
Bonus content.
Say hi.
Hi.
What's your name?
Oscar.
Oscar. And what do you do, Oscar?
I play and watch TV.
You play and watch TV. Do you fix computers?
I'm too little to do that.
You're too little to do that, but you're pretty smart. What do you say when people call?
Oh, hello. I'm busy computer guy.
You're the best. Mwah. Okay, say bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Stay healthy.
Stay healthy.
And peace out. Give them a peace out.
Peace out.
You're the best.